Ladies and gentlemen, if you can please start taking your seats. We can't get started until everyone is seated. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum. Can everyone please take their seats? We're going to begin our program with Quran recitation by Maya School student Zainab Nasruddin. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you, Zainab. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sada Jawad Al-Jassim, and I will be your MC for the afternoon. As an Arab American Muslim female, I take great pride in belonging to a progressive and supportive community, and I thank the ICA board for the privilege to be standing up here as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Islamic Center of America. Before we get started, I'd like to thank and welcome our dignitaries and elected officials who are joining us today. Your presence with us today is recognized and very much appreciated. In order to appreciate the reason we are gathered today, we need to understand our history and where this vision first started. Our history starts with Imam Muhammad Jawad Shirri, whose dream and inspiration led the way for our community and culminated in an Islamic center that has become more than just a place of worship, but an institution and a beacon for Islam in North America. In November of 1962, the community broke ground on what was known then as the Islamic Center of Detroit, the Joy Road Mosque. In September of 1963, the mosque opened its doors for service. Over the years, the community grew too large and the space became too small, which led to the conception and construction of the center we are sitting in today. On May 12, 2005, the Islamic Center of America opened its brand new doors. From a personal standpoint, the ICA means a lot to me. Some of my oldest and fondest memories involve the Joy Road Mosque. As a kid, I attended Saturday Arabic school and Sunday Islamic school at the mosque with my cousins and friends. We used to jokingly complain to our parents that they sent us to school 7 days a week. But in retrospect, we all learned the value of being in the presence of Islam and having that mosque as a place we could learn together, grow together, and feel safe. Who could forget Sunday breakfast with Gak and Ba'at in the lecture hall, or lining up at the single entrance to the prayer room to enter for Salat, or Eid morning spent at the mosque and waiting in line to pick up our highly anticipated brown bag of Eid candy from the conference room. It was a much simpler celebration back then, but so impactful that I remember the details vividly 30 years later. The importance of community in Islam and being there for one another was instilled early on during those days at the mosque. I have my parents to thank for laying this foundation. Naturally, over the years, we grow up and our lives changed. I moved away for college and medical school. I spent countless hours in the hospital and clinic during my residency. I married a wonderful man and had 3 beautiful children. And while the physical time spent in the mosque may not have been as much, it has always been a constant pillar within my upbringing. When it was time for our kids to start school a couple years ago, we decided to send them to Maya. We want our children to grow up having that same sense of community and pride in their religion, and the sense of belonging to something much bigger than themselves as individuals. This is what this community means to us as a family. Although the physical space is different and the events are more grand these days, it's humbling to see the next generation get to be a part of something that was so important to our childhood. And for that, I am grateful. The ICA annual fundraising dinner is an integral part of the stability of this center. Without it, there would be no way to keep these doors open. It is with your generous donations year after year that the ICA can be maintained and remain operational to serve our entire community and beyond. So thank you to each and every one of you here today, and to those who are not physically here today, but support this center immensely with generous donations, not just monetary, but with time, commitment, and dedication to this sacred space we all hold so dearly. Let's keep building this foundation for our future generations. To start off our program, I'd like to introduce someone who is very dear to me and my family personally, as I'm sure he is to many of you, Imam Sheikh Ahmed Hammoud. Sheikh Ahmed serves as our Arabic-speaking Imam at the ICA. He is the community leader for several of our Arabic religious programs, events, funeral services, and community outreach programs. He has a strong theological education and brings a humble and compassionate approach to support our local Muslim community. It is my great pleasure to welcome Sheikh Ahmed to the podium to say a few words. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وأعز المرسلين، سيد الأولين والآخرين، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وربيع قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد، وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين، وعلى جميع أنبياء الله ورسله وملائكته المقربين وعباد الله الصالحين. أيها الإخوة الأحباء جميعا، السادة العلماء، الضيوف الكرام بما يمثلون من مواقع ومراكز اجتماعية، Mayor of Dearborn Heights, Mayor of Dearborn, brother and sister, السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. 60 عاما من العطاء، العنوان جميل ومميز. تاريخ هذه الجالية في عطائها، في تحملها لمسؤوليتها، في الاستمرارية بأداء الواجب تجاه الناس، أهلنا الطيبين الأعزاء في هذه الجالية العزيزة. هذا الزمن الطويل المليء بالجهد والتعب والبذل من قبل المؤسسين، وعلى رأسهم الراحل المقدس والعالم الرباني الذي بذل حياته في سبيل الله تبارك وتعالى، وكان دائما هدفه أن يرضي الله تبارك وتعالى في كل أدائه، سماحة المقدس العلامة الشيخ محمد جواد شري رحمة الله عليه. كذلك لا ننسى في تلك الفترة فترة التعب والجهد، فترة الإخلاص التي عاشها هؤلاء الثلة من الطيبين والمؤمنين الذين قدموا كل شيء من أجل أن يكون هنالك مكانا لإحياء شعائر الله تبارك وتعالى في هذا المغترب الذي كان يعني الكلمة بكل أبعادها في تلك الفترة. يعني بدي أحكي هيك شوي باللغة اللبنانية الدارجة حتى تكون من القلب للقلب. اللي اجوا من 60 سنة و80 سنة على هالبلد كانوا يقولوا انه احنا اجينا على غربة، وكان معهم حق. اللي عم يجي اليوم وبالسنوات 20 سنة و30 سنة من الثمانينات وبالطالع، اللي بيجي على امريكا ما في يقول انه انا والله مغرب، والله احنا ملاقيين الجو هون عربي صاير مش هيك، ومرتبط ببلادنا وعاداتنا وتقاليدنا أكثر من البلاد العربية بحد ذاتها. فبالتالي نحن عايشين هون بجو ما فينا نسميه غربة. الغربة بهذاك الوقت، الغربة عن الأهل، البعد، إمكانيات التواصل مع الأهل كانت صعبة، إمكانيات التواصل أيضا بين الناس هون كانت صعبة. كان بعض الأشخاص أصلاً ما بيعرف تفاصيل. أنا ملتقي بأشخاص وقاعد معاهم ومتحدث معهم إنه ما كنا نعرف شهر رمضان. بعضهم هيك كان يقول عايش ببيئة ومجتمع انفصلت كلياً عن كل شيء، أصلاً لا بيعرف أي شهر رمضان، ولا بيعرف أيمتى شهر محرم، ولا بيعرف أي مناسبة من المناسبات. هذا الجو الذي كان يعيش فيه الناس في تلك الفترة، الله تبارك وتعالى سخر مجموعة من الأحباء الطيبين لإعادة الناس إلى جذورهم، إلى أصولهم، فكانت هذه التضحيات الكبرى منهم. الشيخ محمد جواد شري رحمة الله عليه كان من العلماء والفضلاء في النجف الأشرف في الحوزات العلمية، وفي بداياته يقال كان وكيلا لسماحة المرجع الأعلى قدس سره آية الله العظمى السيد محسن الحكيم رضوان الله تعالى عليه، وكان يذهب أيضا ممثلا عنه إلى مصر، جمهورية مصر العربية، ويملك كثير من الفرص التي يحبها أو يتطلع إليها أي إنسان عامل في سبيل الله تبارك وتعالى في هذه المساحات المفتوحة والواسعة أمامه، لكنه اختار بالرغم من كل ذلك أن يأتي إلى هذه البلاد. والتجربة طبعا سمعناها من كثير من الأحباء، بيننا الكثير من الفضلاء اللي كانوا أيضا يشاركون الشيخ رحمة الله عليه خطوة بخطوة العمل والأداء والتضحيات، وما زال بعضهم على قيد الحياة. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يطيل في أعمارهم وأعماركم جميعا. الحج شفيق موسى وقت بقعد بتحدث أنا وياه بيحكي لي الذكريات في البدايات. الشيخ شري حاول أن يفتح الآفاق للعمل ضمن أجواء طبعا الجالية هنا بحدودها طبعا في ذلك الوقت، ولم تكلل هذه المحاولات بالنجاح، وانتقل بعد ذلك إلى ميشيغان سيتي ليبدأ أيضا هنالك مع ثلة من المؤمنين الذين تشرفت بلقائهم وأيضا معرفتهم من الأشخاص الذين يملكون طيبة وانفتاحا في عقلهم وفكرهم بشكل يجعل الإنسان أمامهم أسيرا لهذه النماذج التي أسست. لنحن هلأ يمكن الأجيال الجديدة ما بتعرف طبيعة هؤلاء الأشخاص، قديش كانت تضحياتهم. يكفي أن عملهم امتد 60 سنة على مر العمر، لمدة هذا العمر 60 سنة مش مسألة بسيطة. هذا يعكس إمكانية والفكرة التي كان يحملها هؤلاء، أنهم كانوا يتطلعون بفكرهم وعطائهم ويبنون ل100 سنة و200 سنة و1000 سنة إلى الأمام. ما كانوا عايشين بحدود أنه أنا بدي أحقق إنجازات على المستوى الشخصي والذاتي، وهذه مشكلة عند كثير من الناس. من أراد أن ينجح ويستمر في عمله عليه أن يخلص لله تبارك وتعالى، وأن يعطي لله تبارك وتعالى كما أعطى الحسين صلوات الله وسلامه عليه كل شيء لله، ونحن من مدرسة الإمام الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. العمل ما بيبقى وما بيستمر إذا ما كان في إخلاص لله، ودلالات الإخلاص واضحة عند هذا الجيل. الشيخ خليل بزي رحمة الله عليه، هذا العالم الشيخ الجليل الطيب المكافح المجاهد الذي كان رفيق درب مع الشيخ شري رحمة الله عليه. الشيخ خليل بزي اللي كان يخدم لله ولا يريد أجرا إلا من الله تبارك وتعالى. إن أجري إلا على الله، هذا المنطق القرآني في دعوة الأنبياء والرسل. إذا واحد بده يجي يعطيه مصاري يزعل، يقول أنا عم أقدم خدمة لله سبحانه وتعالى، أنتوا شو جايب شو مصاري؟ هذا المال أنا لست بحاجة له. هذا المنطق في أدائهم في عملهم. ولذلك نحن اليوم نعيش بركات هذا العمل، نتائج هذا العمل. مسؤوليتنا طبعا أنا يمكن تجاوزت الوقت اللي متاح لي، لكن حبيت ضوي على هالمسألة. هذه السنوات من العمل المتواصل، الناس اللي رهنت بيوتها وجابت لونز على بيتها من أجل أن تعمر الجامع في طبعا المبنى الأول الموجود إلى اليوم. رهنوا بيوتهم من أجل أن يكون هنالك مكان يحيوا فيه شعائر الله تبارك وتعالى. تتصوروا هذا العمل حتى لو الناس نسيته لكن يبقى عند الله تبارك وتعالى. ولذلك هذه المؤسسة والمؤسسات الإسلامية الأخرى التي إن شاء الله تبنى على الإخلاص لله تبارك وتعالى باقية. نحن كأشخاص منجي ومنروح ومنتغير لكن يبقى هذا العمل. وأحب طبعا من الجيل الآن أبنائنا وشبابنا دائما جيل المستقبل الأحباء اللي هلأ طبعا رح نشوف كوكبة منهم إن شاء الله تسير بخطى ثابتة نحو النجاح من شبابنا وفتياتنا في هذه الجالية الكريمة. نتمنى هذا المشعل الذي رفعه هؤلاء الأحبة ألا يسقط، أن يبقى دائما عاليا، وبالتالي بدنا الجيل الجديد يجي ويحمل هذا المشعل. بدنا هذا الجيل الجديد، وأتمنى عليكم جميعا. يمكن احنا كجالية بنحكي بقصص كتير انه شو عم نعمل شو عم نسوي. خيي بنعمل كل شيء بدكم اياه، بس تعالوا لنشتغل سوا بدل ما كل واحد رايح باتجاه. تعالوا لنحط ايدنا بايد بعضنا لحتى نشوف شو بدنا بهالجالية، شو محتاجين. انا لحالي ما في حقق شيء وكل واحد لحاله ما في حقق شيء، بس نحن مع بعضنا نستطيع ان نحقق كل شيء نطلبه ونريده بإذن الله تبارك وتعالى. هذه المؤسسة التي أسسها هؤلاء للجميع هي لكم أيها الأحبة، هي للجميع. أبوابها مفتوحة وقلوبنا مفتوحة، ونحن نعيش اليوم فترة من الخدمة، ويأتي أيضا من هم أفضل منا وأحسن منا ليواصلوا هذه المسيرة في سبيل الله تبارك وتعالى. أجدد ترحيبي بكم وشكري لكم جميعا، وأيضا مجددا كل عام وأنتم بخير. جعل الله أيامكم دائما أيام عيد ومحبة وتلاق ووحدة. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يحفظ هذه الجالية الكريمة المعطاء المضحية العاملة، وأن يوفق أبناءنا وبناتنا لما فيه خيرنا وصلاحنا في الدنيا والآخرة. أهلا وسهلا بكم، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Our next speaker has been a dedicated member of the ICA community since the age of 17, when he first arrived to the U.S. as a new immigrant and joined the ICA youth group. In 1995, he was elected to the Board of Trustees, where he has been serving nonstop for the past 27 years. He is an associate professor of medicine at Wayne State University School of Medicine and the medical director of the PA program at the University of Detroit. He has also held multiple additional roles, including program director of the internal medicine residency program at Oakwood Hospital and chief of medicine and chairman of professional affairs for all employed physicians at Beaumont Health. He served as the ICA chairman from 2003 through 2005 during the exciting grand opening of this very center. It's my pleasure to welcome the ICA chairman of the Board of Trustees, Hajj Dr. Walid Harp.
Thank you. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آل بيته وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. Ladies and gentlemen of my faithful community, honored officials, Honorable Mayor Hamoud, Honorable Mayor Bezzi, Imams, Good afternoon, wassalamu alaikum, and welcome to your Islamic Center. Welcome to God's house. First, congratulations on the 60th anniversary of establishing this great institution. We celebrate 60 years of service, 60 years of keeping and protecting this community's faith and rights, 60 years of being the mothership and the origin of all religious institutions we see today. The Islamic Center of America is the place where everyone feels comfortable, feels at home, and feels welcomed. Your place of worship, full of activities where moderation, curiosity, inquisitive questioning are always encouraged and nurtured. The ICA 60th anniversary theme is building for our future. Our future is not a structural building. It's not a time machine. We mean by it, our future is our children and our grandchildren. That's our future. Our future is to secure and preserve our faith and making it sure that it's relevant to everyday life and work for our kids. We are blessed that 60% of our attendees are young. Our future got stronger with our UNI Youth Rejuvenated programs. Membership tripled in numbers, participation and activities rejuvenated, and that includes mentoring, support of each other, and socially and academically. All thanks to the committee's hard work led by its chairman, Ali Zray. Our future will also arise from the ICA Jewel, the Maya School, established in 1997, 25 years ago. Yearly, we have 300 extremely bright students, polite, and they possess the most solid and fundamental building blocks of an Islamic education. I am thankful to Maya Principal Sister Zainab, the teachers, the staff, the students, and their parents, and the educational board that oversees all of our schools for elevating the school standards and standing. Please watch with me this Maya School clip, and you'll agree and get excited, just like I did, about the impact of Maya School on the students' personality and education. Let's watch.
On every block, there's a story. In every building, every house, and in every room. Where there's people, there's experiences, feelings, and memories. We don't really have a story to tell, but we have a picture to draw.
That's our future. Every year, thanks to generous donors, the Islamic Center grants scholarships to very worthy students. Those students represent the best of role models. They represent our future. This year, we are awarding 11 scholarships, $1,000 each. At least 30 more applicants deserve a scholarship as well. They are that good. But given our limited resources, we had to stop at 11. As I call the names of in alphabetical order, I ask that each student stand up, and I ask the audience to hold their applause until we end. There's a fellow members who will be handing the certificates and the scholarship checks. At the end of the program, I ask that all the students and any available board members to please join for a group picture somewhere in the hall. Thank you. This year's scholarship recipients are Huda Al-Bazzal, Chris Bastajian, Hilal Baydoun, Marwa Shbair, Muhammad Dakhlallah, Asma Eidi, Hadi Al-Hassan, Kareem Qaddouh, Ali Haidar, Layla Qasim, and Hanan Muzib. Congratulations and thank you for being our bright future. You know, none of the ICA programs or work can take place if it wasn't for so many volunteers and workers that make things happen here. I am thankful to all of them. You are the engine that makes this place run. As I call on groups, I ask you to stand and let yourself known, to be recognized because you deserve it. And please stay up until all are called. I call on our new ICA manager, Hajj Hussein Shhadi. I call on all of ICA committees, including the 60th Anniversary Committee and Dinner Committee. I want to especially give kudos to Miyan Subah and to Muhammad and Jana Bandar. I call on all the volunteers inside and outside the kitchen. Please stand up and get recognized. The UNI members, please stand up and get recognized. The Maya School, Saturday School, Sunday School principals, students, teachers, and parents, please, and also the ICA Educational Board, known as Maya Board, please get up and get recognized. I also want to recognize all of our imams and voluntary clergy. Please stand to get recognized. And finally, I call on my fellow board members, the ultimate volunteers, to stand up and get recognized. And I want to single one person, please allow me that, our first Vice Chair, Sister Mirvat Qaddouh, whose work and dedication is unparalleled. Thank you so much for making this a success. Now I want to recognize the most important persons in our lives. Our mothers. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I ask all the moms in the audience to please stand up and get recognized. Thank you. Without you, none of us will be here. Thank you. Now, please allow me to share some of the activities you can encounter at the ICA. In the last couple weeks, I conducted surveys and I did observations on my own. What I found was amazing. Can I have the first slide, please? Our front office averages more than 100 calls every single day. 30 of those calls are sent to our imams to resolve. The rest are handled by the secretaries. On top of this, people have our imams' numbers. So 20 to 30 calls every day come on top of that to our imams. The most common subjects were foretelling, khiri in Arabic, khiri. Calls regarding Islamic rules and what to do, what's appropriate. They get calls about family issues and disputes, calls about needing help, both financial and moral support. They get lots of calls about marriage and divorce issues and drug issues. This amounts to over 47,000 calls and issues tackled every year. Can I have the second slide, please? I like statistics. I gotta do it. Our congregational prayers are greatly attended. Morning prayer averages 50 attendees. Noon, afternoon is 40. Evening prayers with 50. Our weekly Friday prayers are blessed with over 500 worshipers. We are also fortunate to have interfaith groups, colleges, and students groups with tours and information. We average 2 tours per week with 5 to 20 in each group. Total attendees in this slide exceeds 79,000 attendees per year. Next slide, please. The ICA averages 2 funerals per week. Of course, each will have 1 funeral day, 2 days of Fatiha, and 1 Isbu'. They average about 500 attendees per event. We also have weekly Thursday Dua Kumail, very well attended, 150 at least. Our Tuesday Dua Tawassul is at 35. Sunday breakfast is 100 people strong. Of course, we have imams, birthdays, memorials, and other religious occasions. Every other week, there's one. Total for this slide is about 222,000 visitors every year. Next slide. Of course, we have a Maya school, 5 days a week, 300 students. They come and go. They have their lunch here. They have their prayers. Saturday school, 200. Sunday school, religious school, 100 every week. The UNI, Young Muslims, they have great support to their members. They're mentoring programs every Friday, over 150 attendees. And one of my favorites, the 7 to 12-year-old youth program every Saturday. 50 students gather to learn and ask questions from Dr. Sheikh Ibrahim Sarhan. I am so grateful for his voluntary hard work in mentoring our young generation. This slide adds another 70,000 attendees per year. Next slide, please. When it comes to giving and charity, our Islamic Center takes the lead in doing, and I emphasize doing, not lip service, not empty words on social media. Locally, we have 2 people come in for application per week with an average of 200 per applicant, total over 20,000 a year. During the pandemic, your ICA distributed food supplies to thousands of families every single week, thanks to donations from you, from local merchants, and from the federal government. Over $1 million worth of food was distributed. We all are aware of the dire need in Lebanon. In the past 12 months, the ICA sent over 4 times the total of over $100,000 to help feed the needy in Lebanon. We send it through the Sutter Foundation and through the Benin Foundation. Thousands of needy families were helped. And currently, your ICA is helping our Afghan refugees that live around us with supplies, food, clothing, and transportation. In collaboration with the World Medical Relief, the ICA also sent a full container of medical supplies and equipment to various Lebanese hospitals, valued over $600,000. Next slide, please. So in summary, here's a sum what your ICA is doing day in and day out. If you add the holidays, Ramadan, Ashura, and everything else, the ICA experienced over 500,000 of visitors every year. So why am I telling you this? First, you have to know. You need to know. But the second, when you realize the amount of programs and the traffic at the ICA, you can understand the high maintenance need of your Islamic center. The roof replacement alone, it's going to cost us $500,000. The parking lot fixing and servicing, $1 million. So ladies and gentlemen, the Islamic Center is calling on your generosity to minimize the amount of money we have to borrow. God decreed in His holiest of books, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. You will not attain righteousness until you give of that which you love. So I want you to please consider this. Each one of us pledge and commit to send an extra $500 by the end of May. I know it hurts, but when it hurts, the rewards are higher from God. That extra donation will decrease the loan to borrow by $500,000. God bless you and your families. May God grant you health, prosperity, and peace. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The city of Dearborn has long held a special place for American Muslims. After all, it is home to the largest mosque in North America. It is only fitting that Dearborn now has its first Muslim mayor. Abdullah Hammoud is a groundbreaker. He is the son of Lebanese immigrants. He is Fatma's husband. He is Mariam's baba. He is a policy nerd, enthusiast, and cheesecake connoisseur. His election has brought much pride and excitement to our community. With great pleasure, let's welcome our next speaker, Mayor Abdullah Hammoud.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Respected scholars and honorable guests, and if you'll forgive me for this one point. You know, I noticed last week, سامحني عمي. I noticed last week that when my uncle was up at the podium, and for those who don't know, Ammi Sheikh Ahmed Hammoud, and that to me was one of the highest honors that I had. Prior to ever being mayor, I was always known as Ibn Khayyul Sheikh Ahmed Hammoud. And that to me is worth more than any title that I can ever see. Elected officials need not to be announced, especially at the masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that what separates people is the purveyors of good deeds. That's what provides you a distinction between individuals, not the titles that they have. And so inshallah in this masjid, we need not be recognized. And for me, you know, when I have my uncle say that, أنا بستحي, and it's something أنا ما بقبل, because more than just my uncle and these scholars, these are also our teachers. And these are the individuals that taught me, and without whom I would not be standing before you. And so I would not allow them to call me by a title, because they are our scholars. You know, 60 years we're celebrating. And this is the masjid that I call home. This is the masjid, and when I walk through, I feel at peace. This is the masjid, and as some may find it difficult to say, this is the masjid in which we bury our loved ones, and we bid farewell to them. This is the masjid, and that prayer room across the hall is where we had my brother al-marhum Haj Ali Hussein Hammoud overnight, and folks from across the community came and read Quran for 24 hours throughout the night. And this is the masjid, inshallah. And I say that willingly, that my coffin will be at the front, and inshallah this community will be here to bid farewell with my family. And I say that knowingly and hopeful that that will be the day. This is the masjid which we need to ensure lasts not only for 60 years, but for generations to come, so that my daughter, our children, and our children's children have a place that they can come and feel at peace and call home as I have for the entirety of my life. This is the masjid that we must uplift, because we know that the world tries to bring down our masajid. We know that the world oftentimes has a misconception of what is taught or preached on the mumbar within our masajid. And what's important is that we all recognize that we are all representatives of this masjid, no matter where we go and no matter where you are with what title that you have. And so I would like to just wish the masjid a congratulations on 60 years, and to all the scholars and to all the masajid in this community. Inshallah, not only 60 more to go, but hundreds more to go, and we will be there to support every step of the way. Wassalamu alaikum.
Our next speaker is inspired by a vision of the upbringing of our youth. As a community leader amongst our younger generation, he currently serves as the chairman of the United Network of Islam, the youth committee of the ICA. The UNI is dedicated to inspiring and empowering our future generations in an open and welcoming manner. It is my pleasure to introduce Brother Ali Zrik.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I wanted to very quickly go over with everyone the youth organization here at the Islamic Center of America. So at the ICA, the United Network of Islam is the youth organization here at the Islamic Center of America, and we target the ages from mid-teens to early 30s. UNI is dedicated to enlightening Muslims and non-Muslims on the teachings of Islam, whether that be through a discussion, through a bonfire, or even through this dinner. So with that being said, we want to foster faith and leadership to inspire and empower our youth. So here at the Islamic Center of America, we hold weekly programs for the youth. These weekly programs, week after week, they range from bonfires to discussions to lectures to sports events. And then coming, inshallah, in the future, we have a lot of programs that we're planning out, like private courses and mentorship programs. Private courses that range from courses from Islamic history all the way to the Arabic language, and mentorship programs that start off with life coaching and end off probably mental health coaching and even career coaching. So with that being said, on each table there's a card with a QR code. If you scan that QR code with your phone, inshallah it'll take you to a link where you can sign up, you can give your contact information, and we'll notify you guys of upcoming programs and events we have. Inshallah, if we can all work together to achieve one main goal, we can really make a difference in this community. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I know the food has come out. Please bear with us. We are almost done. Our next speaker is described by many as the glue that holds the ICA together. She is the first vice chair of the ICA Board of Trustees. She is the board liaison for Maya School. She leads the kitchen as an active member of the ladies of the ICA. She has led so many of our community events, ranging from food drives, vaccine clinics, donation initiatives, just to name a few. She wears so many different hats and is involved in so many different aspects of the ICA, and there is just no simple way to introduce her. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Sister Mirvat Kaddouh on behalf of the ladies of the ICA.
Well, this microphone really doesn't want me to speak. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to congratulate the community on 60 years. The accomplishment could not have been done without the support of every single person in this room. Imam Muhammad Jawad Shiri had a vision, and his vision is still alive through the hard work of volunteers, the Board of Trustees, and numerous religious leaders over the last few decades. During the pandemic, the ladies of the ICA, along with the youth and numerous volunteers, assisted in organizing food drives, opening a vaccine clinic with Henry Ford Health System, and helping the unfortunate. The ICA stands on the shoulder of volunteers. As a proud active Board of Trustee member, I have been volunteering since 2002. I worked alongside many beloved volunteers that have paved the path through their hard work, dedication, and commitment. I am blessed to have the opportunity to continue the tradition. I urge everyone to join us. We still have a lot to do. No one is perfect, but this community needs people like us to keep this center going. And just remember, this is the only mosque that's built by the community for the community. I urge everyone to join me. My heart is full when I see the youth through the doors of the ICA, whether it is for helping new programs, having a safe place to study, or even reading Quran and praying. Even through the pandemic, our long-standing tradition of baking ka'ak and ba'at, we were able to contribute $21,000 this last 6 months. I was hoping that we're able to do more, but the pandemic had really shut us down quite a bit. And I would also like to thank you all for your continued support, for being here, for being besides us, and inshallah, we'll have another 100 years to go. Al-Fatiha for all our beloved members whom we have lost over the years. Al-Fatiha. And I want to also thank the 60th committee, the fundraising committee who put this beautiful dinner together. I mean, it's amazing. Thank you guys all. I know you all know who you are if you'd like to stand up. And I also want to thank Al Qahwa House for having coffee, so after Ramadan that we can at least have a little bit of patience within each other. Thank you. Sahtan.
To close out our program, we'd like to share a video that was made to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the ICA.
It was the beautiful dream of an inspiring man who could not speak or understand English that gave birth to an organization that kept growing to become what is today the largest mosque in North America. This is the incredible story of an institution that is much more than a place to pray. This is the story of a community haven that holds our early memories and the echoes of childhood friendships, the place where our kids had their first ka'ak and ba'at, where many cried and laughed, a place that embraces the young and the old, Arabs and non-Arabs, Muslims and people of other faiths. This is the sanctuary where the new immigrants and the American-born came together to find comfort from the stress of life, to worship, to celebrate, to mourn, to learn, and to grow. This is the story of the Islamic Center of America. The story began in 1948 when Muslims in the Detroit area felt the need to preserve their Islamic heritage, especially for their children that had no place to connect with their religion. That year, while hosting a dinner for a minister in the Lebanese government who was visiting Southeast Michigan, they asked him to recommend a religious leader to serve the community and help with their goal. The minister suggested a name that some had already knew, Imam Muhammad Jawad Shirri. After some convincing from his friends who were already residing in the Metro Detroit area, Imam Shirri
to lead
the
the newly
decision
formed
to begin
society.
his journey in
Soon
America.
after,
In
Imam Shirri
1949,
started working
he
to
traveled
make
from
the dream
Lebanon
he
to
shared with the
Dearborn.
community
However,
in Metro
the
Detroit
path was
a
not
reality.
paved with ease after
Building
arrival.
a mosque on Joy
Social
Road in
pressures
Detroit
forced
that would
Imam
be the
Shirri to
first
depart the
Muslim
area
religious
in
center in
1950
Michigan.
for a mosque in Michigan City, Indiana,
Imam
where he
Shirri's
became more
commitment and
integrated
efforts
in the
helped
American
fund the
culture
Islamic
and learned
Center,
the English
trying
language.
to bring this goal
Few
to
years
life.
later,
he made a trip to the Middle East and spoke to Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser about his vision of the center in America. Abdel Nasser was so moved and inspired that he wired a check for $44,000, which helped the Islamic Center Foundation Society buy the land from Ford Motor Company. With the land secured, on November 15, 1962, the community broke ground on what was known then as the Islamic Center of Detroit.
Religious center in Michigan. Imam Shuri's commitment and efforts helped fund the Islamic
The community
Center.
then came together to support the building of the mosque. In addition to a loan from the bank, many donated generously to this project. Some loaned money, and one person even pledged his house as collateral.
That he wired a check for $44,000, which helped the Islamic
The
Center
center opened its doors on September 20th of 1963. Families began attending the new mosque regularly, and it quickly became more than a building. It was a hub for the community. Religious services were taking place weekly. Kids were attending classes to learn the basis of the faith. Sunday breakfasts, wedding celebrations, Eid celebrations, and other social gatherings were frequent and brought people together. Being so familiar with the American culture and language, it was easy for Imam Shuri to work with many other religious groups to build a strong community of interfaith network that the center became recognized for. The Women's Auxiliary Club worked relentlessly, connecting with community members to donate, distributing gifts to thousands of children on Eid, and began highlight fundraising efforts like bake sales. The youth, who were always the inspiration for the center, were very involved from the early days. They formed a group that helped them to develop leadership skills and religious identities. And in 1997, Maya School, a full-time Islamic school for kids from kindergarten to 8th grade, was started. The late 90s also saw a massive wave of immigrants arriving in Southeast Michigan. With this influx, a name change was proposed to mark a new era. The Islamic Center of Detroit became the Islamic Center of America. Other changes were also on the way. The center had already outgrown its capacity and space, so a search for a bigger space began. Luckily, at the time, the YMCA was selling their property off Ford Road in Dearborn. The land was immediately bought, and this was the start of what was to become the largest mosque in North America. In the midst of these happy moments and new beginnings, the community was shaken to its core when it lost its religious leader, Imam Muhammad Jawad Shuri, in 1994. While Imam Shuri had departed from this life, his legacy lived on. Community members carried his vision and continued the growth of the center. After several years of planning, they broke ground. The community then came together and raised the money to build an institution that would answer its new needs.
Every time we come to you, you answer our calls. On behalf of everyone at the Islamic Center, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to you and your families for all your commitment tonight. The total for tonight is over $3 million. Thank you.
The ICA became a haven for the community. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people from different backgrounds and faiths walk through its doors. The ICA is the place where many Muslims in the community gather to pray and hold their services, to celebrate together the happiest life events and mourn the saddest moments, to teach their kids Arabic at Saturday school and teach them about their faith through Sunday school. Sunday breakfasts bring many families to share food and laughter and make memories. Religious programs and sermons cater to people of different ages and backgrounds. Senior programs engage local senior citizens with social, fun, and religious activities. Friday prayers draw community members from near and far, away from their jobs and busy life, for some moments of reflection and connection with their spirituality. The youth programming continue to be central, and through the organization UNI, youth can represent their voices and have a safe space for spiritual, educational, and social awareness. From the work planted by Imam Shuri in the early days, inclusivity and interfaith programming continue to be major pillars in the ICA. And through Maya School, children, the leaders of tomorrow, are provided with strong Islamic foundation and well-rounded education. Women continue to be an essential part of the ICA. Ladies of the ICA work tirelessly to build bridges with other community organizations. They lead weekly bake sales to raise funds for the center and focus on assisting, empowering, and raising awareness on issues within our community. The impact of the ICA goes far beyond its walls. Over the years, it has reached out and provided services to communities locally and globally. The center led relief efforts for Yemen and Lebanon to help provide food and medical supplies. During the last 2 years of the pandemic, the ICA distributed more than 36,000 food boxes to families and administered more than 7,000 vaccines. All these programs and activities have been carried out by a group of very dedicated individuals, the ICA volunteers, who have committed countless hours to the center. This is their second family, a home that holds their dearest memories and that has given them as much as they invest in it. Working together, we look forward to rebuilding Maya School, expanding it to a high school, and adding a needed auditorium. As we celebrate 60 years, we're truly celebrating each of you. You are the heart of the Islamic Center of America. We look to the past with gratitude and pride, and we look to the future with eager anticipation. Together, we have laid the foundation for many generations, and together, we are building for the future.
I have to say, watching that video brought so many good emotions and memories, as I'm sure it did for many of you. Seeing the familiar faces and spaces that we all shared as a community over the years, and looking forward to all the growth the ICA has made and will continue to make, is truly humbling. Thank you for being here tonight and for your continued support and commitment to the ICA. Please remember why we're here tonight. Please remember to leave your donations on your way out. It has been a pleasure being your MC today. Let's all recite Surah Al-Fatiha together as we enjoy this dinner. Al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum.